What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Bad and Barred. It's your girl, Avi B. And if you listened to the last episode, then you know we are taking this thing solo. So let's get right into it. I have so many thoughts just percolating through my mind on today. It is January 20th, 2025 when I'm recording this. So that means that unfortunately it is Inauguration Day. Fortunately, MLK Day. So let's get right into it. So I really want to talk about what I've been seeing so much of since Election Day on social media, and it is the notion that the 92%, i.e., Black women, will be entering into a period of rest or hibernation for these next 4 years. We will be going inward, focusing on self care and communal care, and I want to explore that notion because I have, like I said, seen it so much through each of the social media apps that I'm on since election day. And I just, I really want to dive deep into that because I have a lot of thoughts. And, truthfully, when I first saw this message of, okay, 92%, it's time to take off the savior hat and take a seat back, I was like, you know what? Yep, you right. Because we always saving folks. We are always the saviors. We always do our part. We show up, we show out, and when it comes to everybody else, it's always maybe they coming to the function, maybe they ain't. We don't know. Are they gonna bring something? Are they gonna come in here and act like they got some sense? We never know. And 9 times out of 10, the answer to that question is no. But we gonna show up for each other and for ourselves. And so, when I first heard this message, it resonated with me deeply because, on a personal level, last year made me experience a lot of burnout. I had so much burnout last year just from all the wheels spinning, from being a full time attorney to being a full time wife and mother to being a part time adjunct professor and a part-time restorative justice practitioner slash trainer. I'm always in go mode, in service to others mode, in savior mode, if you will. And I'm like, you know what? Yep, I'm taking my cape off and I'm sitting down for the next 4 years too because I deserve. And then on a deeper level, I have been trying really hard to listen to my body because what I do know is I'm not going to spin my wheels until there's nothing left. I'm not going to spin my wheels to disease and to, mental despair in the way that so many of the people who came before us have. And I came to this realization when working with other civil rights lawyers and seeing them publicly be portrayed as, a great, but then privately in their home lives, they are suffering when it comes to their health, their relationships, their partners, their family. They're suffering behind the closed door. And I just made a decision for myself that I don't want that. I don't want that for myself. So 2024 was a year for me to kind of tune in, tap in, and say, okay, what is causing these feelings? Let me listen to my body. I also went to a functional medicine who helped me explore that I did have an autoimmune disorder, which was causing me to have some of the symptoms and things that I was going through in burnout, which also didn't help because I was having these physical manifestations and symptoms of burnout, particularly like with gut health issues and weight fluctuation and all the things. And so I saw a functional medicine doctor, which for me was so, so, so important because regular Western medicine doctors are not trained to look at the root cause or to find the root cause of disease, right? They are trained to treat symptoms. You go into the doctor, you tell them your symptoms, they give you medication and say go on. And that is what, I was pretty much experiencing. And so for me, I'm like, no, I need to get to the root cause of what is happening here because I don't like things being out of order with my body. I have been a healthy person. I plan to be a healthy person and live a long life. And so for me, functional medicine helped me out tremendously. And I may do a separate episode on that if folks have questions or are interested in hearing about that experience. I'm happy to answer those. But the notion of rest, needless to say, resonated with me deeply because I'm like, yes, I'm ready to sit on down. I'm tired of saving everybody else. Who's here to save me? Okay? I have personally vowed this year that when it comes to people in my life, if there is not an invested relationship by which you call me to ask me and check on me and say, hey, how are you doing, Aviance? I'm not going to be the person that is saving you. If you're only calling me for favors or only calling me in times of need, I ain't got nothing for you this year because that is reserved for me. I have a family and I have dreams and aspirations that are going to take my full self to obtain. And if I'm in constant save a hoe mode, forgive my words, but in constant savior mode, I can't obtain what I need to and live up to my own full potential. So yes, rest. On top of that, I think 2 years ago now, I read Rest is Resistance by Trisha Hersey, and that book changed my entire perspective about rest because I used to feel like it was kind of lazy, truthfully. Like, I felt like rest was something that you needed to earn. Like, I needed to spin my wheels until there was nothing left so that I could sit down and lay down and feel good about doing it. And that book really helped break through that stigma of what it means to truly rest, and in a way that honors the work of our ancestors and the people who came before us that worked so valiantly for us to be able to take a moment to rest. And one of the questions that's posed is like, what if that was our ancestors' wildest dreams? What if their wildest dreams wasn't for me to be an overworked, grinded down to the bone lawyer? What if their wildest dreams were simply for me to exist and function with peace and rest, and my mind and my body be well, for me to be well connected and loved and in respectful communal relationships? Like, what if those were their wildest dreams? For some people, that message really, some people really need to sit with that message. So, needless to say, in November, I was like, yeah, absolutely. That's for me. Ding, ding, ding. Sign me up for the rest brigade with the rest of the 92%. December came and I fully leaned into the holidays, Christmas, family. Like, I acted like none of this stuff that was happening politically was actually going to happen. I lived in full oblivion for the month of December. If you don't know, I am a Sagittarius. My birthday is in December. I go all out every year for my birthday. Like, I fully celebrate myself. I buy the things that I want to buy for the month. Like, I spend time with my family. I love Christmas lights. So I'm going to do all the things in December. And I didn't think about any of the political things, the games, none of the nonsense that was coming in January. And now we're here. We are here. It is January. Today in particular is January 20th. That orange man is being sworn in today. And now I'm like, okay, all right, let's do this. How am I feeling today in terms of rest? I am feeling a pull for both and I'm going to explain that in a second, but I just want to address some of the things that I've been seeing on social media, particularly from Black women to other Black women who are choosing not to rest in this season. I think it is absolutely absurd for us to critique one another in how we respond to racism and fascism and the overthrow of our democracy. We did our part when we stood united back in November and we all showed up in a show of force. We don't have to be united in the way that we respond. Let's be clear. For some people, resting, turning their eye, and doing nothing is not in tune with who they are. And so if there are people who are choosing not to rest in this season, let them work. For some people, that is how they take care of themselves, is to respond, is to be actively engaged and civically engaged and engaged in their community. So let people respond with how they need to. We cannot be judging each other for choosing to engage in our civic duties, truthfully. And so do I feel people who are like, I'm sitting down and doing nothing? Yes. Do I also feel like it is appropriate to respond how you need to? And if that is strapping your boots up and getting on the ground and making your voice heard, then also, yes, do that if that is for you. For me, I'm feeling a pull from both sides because it is innately a part of my identity to um, seek justice. That is just a part of who I've always been. It's not in me to just naturally sit down and turn a blind eye to injustice. That's not a part of who I am. And at the same time, I understand what caused the burnout that I experienced last year. And I'm not going to put myself through that again. Like mentally, I'm not going to keep going down that path. Physically, I am determined to restore my health and fully stand in that part of myself so that I can be and the best for myself and for my son and my husband and for my family and friends and sisters and everybody else, but also like for myself. And I also have been doing this work for so long. It's like I'm not new to this, I'm true to this. And so for the people who maybe were new to this work, sitting down just kind of feels like, yeah, that's the next move. But for some people who have been engaged in this work for so long that it has become a part of their identity, a part of who they are, a part of how they move and do community, it's okay to respond by working. And I am a civil rights lawyer. So naturally, my work is responsive to this moment. And so, what am I going to do right now? It may change. It may change after a few months. I don't know. But right now, I am leaning into this moment with both self care and self preservation in mind. And also, I'm going to continue to pour myself into my work. I'm not going to take on nothing new. Let's be clear. I'm not, like for some people I've been seeing like, what do we do in response to Trump 2.0? No, 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 no. Let's be clear. I'm not going into responsive mode. I'm not going to change who I am or the way that I move or the things that I do. No, I don't find that to be productive because when you have a plan and you're strategic and you're on the offensive, your mind goes into tunnel vision and you do that work regardless of who is in office, truthfully. Because in reality, we know that neither one of these political parties are serving us in a way that is going to get us to abolition or to justice. That's just a fact. So no matter who is in office, red, blue, purple, yellow, or green, baby, I'm going to do the work. And what that looks like means leaning into community, leaning on the people that I love, right? Pouring into those people. And, sometimes it may look like me strapping up and walking into the courtroom, which I'm planning to do in another month and a half here on the civil rights trial that I'm on. But when I'm not in that mode, I am going to rest. I am going to eat good. I am going to twerk because that is me. And that's what feels good to me. And so I think I'm in this like phase of both. And I'm going to rest. Yes. I'm going to love on my people. I'm going to let my people love on me. I am going to turn inwards and focus on my dreams. Like one of the things that I'm planning to do this year is really lock in on this podcast because I know I've been shaky, not being consistent. I admit that. I'm planning to fully lock in on this podcast and grow it and do what I need to do. Yeah, I'll stop there. But I want to lock in on my podcast. I want to do more teachings and trainings and dive into my personal work that fulfills me and that I feel like is in alignment with my purpose. And so, yes, I'm going to do those things. At the same time, I'm going to, like I said, do the work that I need to do for rest and what rest looks like for me. I think, yeah, that was a lot. I told y'all I have a lot of thoughts about all of this. Yeah. There's so much that I can say about Black women and our history of just grinding ourselves till there's nothing left, particularly like in the face of the patriarchy and the anti-feminist society that we live in. Like, yes, women as a whole are overworked and underpaid, but Black women in particular are overworked and underpaid. And so yes, get to the bag and focus on yourself and lean into your purpose, but also like whatever it looks like for you to show up for yourself, I encourage you to do, and to show up and lean on your community. There is this narrative about self-care that is, really strongly pushed, and not enough about community care, which is why I keep mentioning that part, because we're not meant to do life in silos. We are not meant to do life alone. We're just not. And so, who are your people? That's something that I want to challenge you with. Who are your people? Who are the people that are genuinely and authentically going to show up for you? Who are the people that you do life with? You are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So when you think about that, do those people have a trajectory in which you see yourself going down? Are those people the people that you want to be in your life forever? Who are your people? What does that look like? What does it look like to love authentically without having to reserve portions of who you are? These are the questions that I'm grappling with all the time. And right now, with the space that I'm in, I can't afford to be around people that I have to reserve pieces of myself from. I don't want that anymore. If I can't authentically be who I am around you, sorry, snip, snip, sayonara, you've got to go. Because in this space that I'm in, authenticity is what is required for me to show up. I need to be able to laugh, and I got a loud laugh. And I need to be able to do that without feeling embarrassed or ashamed. And so, yeah, think about who are your people. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time. I'm going to try my hardest this year, y'all, to do the opposite of what I was doing back in 2017, 2018, 2019, where I was fully locked and loaded into the news, looking at that orange man every single day. I'm not doing it this time. I'm not, because it's already a tornado. It's already chaotic. Elon Musk is controlling this man. He's got ties to the Chinese. Like, there's so much that if I spent my wheels responding to every single thing that happens with our government, I'm never going to get anything done that I need to personally get done. I can't respond to it all. So I'm personally going to not be so locked and tuned into the news cycles this presidential term, because I got work to do. I got work to do separate and apart from, like I said earlier, who's in the White House. There's so much work on the ground. There's so much local and state community work that you can be doing that is not connected to the federal government at all, that is actually in many circumstances more impactful, that I want to encourage people to lean into, because in reality, the president does not control everything. Now, are we headed towards a dictatorship? We shall see. We shall see, because this man breaks the rules and does whatever he wants to do. But that's neither here nor there for us right now in this moment, and what our plan is to achieve our own goals. In terms of what I just said a second ago with this whole Chinese connection with Donald Trump, let's just take a quick moment to talk about TikTok. Because, girl, what was that? What in the world was that? That was so ghetto. What was it, like a 12, 14-hour ban? And it happened, first of all, they said it was going to happen on Sunday. It happened on Saturday at like 10:30. And just out of nowhere, like, you cannot do anything on the app. Y'all know, y'all experienced it right along with me. I love TikTok. TikTok for me is a place where, for one, the intellectuals are. Baby, I love smart people. I love it. So to hear somebody get on TikTok and talk they talk and I'm learning something, yes, sign me up. Because ain't nobody on Facebook or Instagram doing that. Everybody's talking nonsense over there. Okay? And beyond that, like, I learned so much, like, intellectually, but also, like, the recipes be A1. I don't have to think about food when I'm on TikTok, because it's like, I don't need to plan out the meals. The app would send me exactly what I need for the week. So feelings were hurt on TikTok on Sunday. Mine didn't shut down till Sunday. But when I got up there and realized that it wasn't working, I was like, dang, here we go. And within hours, it was restored. And now we're seeing all these messages where they're saying thanks to Donald Trump for restoring it, which I find interesting, because how did he restore it when he wasn't even in office? And just chaos, right? So there's some backdoor deals going on somewhere because the Supreme Court said exactly what the state law said, that TikTok needed to be sold to a U.S. based company in order for it to still be accessible to U.S. citizens. And so now the question is, did they sell out? And if so, to who? Was it to Mr. Zuckerberg or to Mr. Musk? Which one was it? To somebody else, hopefully. Please, if they did, let it not be one of them two, because I'm sick of them both. And let's be real, the algorithms on TikTok are just superior to the algorithms on Instagram and Facebook. They just are. It is for you, okay? When the TikTok algorithms say for you, when the TikTok algorithm says for you, she mean that. It is tailored specifically to you. So those few hours without the app, it was kind of like, dang, this is really setting in. And I've seen so much discourse over that about people making an app an idol and all the things. And I don't even want to respond to that right now because I just think it's nonsense. But to the portion about TikTok now becoming a propaganda tool. What is propaganda? It is a source by which government or political leaders can use this outlet to try to get into your mind and control the way that you see them and news and what is happening around you. It is a tool by which they are shaping your perspective on ideas. And is that what's happening right now? It kind of seemed like it because Mr. Shu been mentioning Trump a whole lot. Mr. Shu is the owner of TikTok, and he can't stop talking about Trump. But is it a ploy? Maybe so. Is it a type of thing where you keep your friends close and your enemies closer? That's what I'm hoping it is, Mr. Shu. I'm hoping. But in reality, will we see in another week or so that TikTok sold out to a US-based company? It's likely. And in that case, is the algorithm going to change? What's going to happen? That's what I'm waiting to see. And truthfully, like, part of me feels some type of way to be on the side with Trump, align with Trump on anything, particularly when he was the one who set this whole thing off in the first place. Back in 2020, when he said he wanted to ban the app because he didn't like it, because it was being used as a political tool against him to spread information against him in his campaign. Now all of a sudden we aligned. I don't like that. I don't like that. That don't sit well with me. it's not well with my soul, honey. And so when it comes to what Trump's interest is, there's a lot of talks, for one, that TikTok was used in this election cycle to get into the minds of Gen Z, and to control some of the election narrative for Trump, and it worked out for him, for one. And then for two, of course, there's some backdoor talk about his connections in the with Chinese foreign officials, and there's some money going on back and forth between the two of them, which I am pretty confident is the case, that he has some type of financial interest or financial stake in all of this. And so I think that it is likely that there's some corruption going on behind these back doors, and whether or not ByteDance is going to divest their interest, meaning remove themselves so that Americans can remain on the app, is a question that remains unanswered right now. But we're going to see. I got high hopes for you. We're going to see, in the words of the great Reverend Drake. No, I actually don't have high hopes. But, I will say that if this is bye-bye to TikTok as we know it, your girl is going to be sad, because I love the app. It is great. Like I said, I've learned so much. So much. Anything I've ever needed, I've been able to quickly find or search. Just the other day, my son was sick, and I typed in home remedies for breaking a fever, and it taught me to get some white vinegar, dab a cotton ball in the white vinegar, dab it on his forehead, his armpits, and things like that. And it was right. The fever immediately broke. I've been rotating through Tylenol and Motrin, like the doctor said, for a full day, and his fever was still at 103. And then, because of my exposure to Indian medicine and the way that Indians do things for their toddlers through this app, I learned a little bit of white vinegar might just do the trick, and it did. So, this app is superior to the others. And that's why people are going so hard. Not to mention, like, it's clearly a source of revenue for many business owners and creators and things of that nature. And so there's a lot that goes into it. But all this to say that these next 4 years are about to be a roller coaster, and you can choose to get on it or off it, baby. Either way, it's gonna spin. You can choose to be informed and engaged and in the know, or you can choose to sit back, bury your head, and turn inwards. The choice is yours, but don't judge anybody for what they choose to do, for one. And for two, the reality is these policies are going to affect us no matter what we do. Whether we are fighting against it or burying our heads and acting like it doesn't exist, some of the things that this president does will impact our lives, our day-to-day lives. And so, for the people who feel a sense of resilience and urgency to respond, I completely respect it. For the people that want to rest and let others figure this battle out, I also respect it, because Black women been saving this country since day one. And where has it gotten us? Where has it gotten us? Besides mass burnout. Woosah. Woosah. On that note, I'm going to wrap this thing on up. I have been yapping and yapping, and I can continue to rap, baby. I'm going to wrap this thing on up. I'm looking forward to the next episode. I have some really cool guests that are coming on in the nearby future, and I'm excited to engage with you all on this season. Let me know if you have any questions, thoughts, or concerns. I am so glad to have y'all here. And on that note, I'll see y'all soon. Bye.